Be live now. So, hello everyone. It is Kenyon here, Basketball Rewind. I'm joined by Beyond the Locker Room, Coach Roach, of course. And Beyond, actually, you'll have to send me your stuff later on because I want to make sure that you are in the description of this video as we're just getting started off here. Today, we're going to be talking about a couple different things, of course. And the first things first is we should be mentioning that the Blue Jays are, basically rocking things, and they're on to the next round. How is everyone? Just while I get this set up.
Well, good man. I just finished a podcast about the old Blue Jays, so and it's great to see the city humming. Got a winner in town, which is always nice. The country overall is obviously fully back in the Jays, and that's good to see. The old blue and white. And as far as hoops goes, I mean, my head's been more on the W side lately. Because boy, that was I tell you, I just finished a pod on that, so look out for that because Aja Wilson. Wow, what a campaign, as I said before, what a campaign. But as far as on this side, of the ledger, and just me personally, everything's good. Can't complain, man. Looking forward to talking some NBA with you guys.
Yeah, congratulations to Aja Wilson for sure. I think it's a great accomplishment. Also to the Las Vegas Aces and one Becky Hammond, who really held it down. They did not look like this midseason. I'll say that.
I thought she would get fired. Actually, I literally put a tweet out about that.
Yes.
When you get beat by 53 on national TV, you start dust off the old resume at that point.
For sure. Coach, your thoughts on everything so far?
Well, I'll just say I'm doing pretty good. I got about maybe 3 hours of sleep last night, which isn't too bad. And I just rocked my daughter to sleep. So it's when you have a little one and you're able to get them to sleep, you cheer for yourself.
Totally hear you with that one. Well, without a further ado, let's get into it. So, outside of the Raptors, we're going to get to the Raptors later on. First things first, your guys' thoughts, big picture. I know not all of us have been able to watch as much NBA as we normally would want to, but has there been a rookie in the NBA for preseason that has impressed you so far? Is this draft class living up to expectations?
I'll say this. I'm not going to say it much for the rest of the season, but boy, did we miss an opportunity. Oh my gosh, did we miss an opportunity?
Is it one guy in particular, or do you think it's fair to say it for a number of guys?
I think in this case here, I think we were bang on. I think we were bang on from the standpoint of we thought in this case here there was like one level and then a next level below it. And those guys are at that level. There's a reason why we wanted to get in that level because there's not only the talent level, which all of them have talent, no two ways about it, but there's a mentality and aura around those particular players I'm talking about. And I think we identified probably 4 of them in this case here. And those 4 players, and you're sitting there now, we're barely in the preseason. And you can see it oozing out of some of these players already where it's like, holy cow, what the hell were we thinking last season?
Yeah, because it's not ever. The framing behind it was wrong. A lot of people seem to focus on, you're tanking, pooping for Coop, right? And it's like, no. It's not just Cooper Flag. There's more than just Cooper Flag there.
Right.
But Cooper Flag, just to start with him in his debut and the games that he has played and the minutes that he's played, I think Dallas is going to be all right. I mean, I said it before. I will continue saying it. I think that they are poised to be really, really strong as a team. And don't be surprised if they make the playoffs and make a run for it, depending on when a certain Kyrie Irving comes back into the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, like in a way, as a Mavericks fan, we get the best of both worlds. Cooper gets to kind of learn and do what he has to do by probably playing 30 plus minutes a night, but he's not actually pressured to be the dude. And yet at the same time, in some ways, he still has to be kind of like the dude in some ways because Kyrie's not there because they're going to need someone on the perimeter to kind of make plays for all those bigs they got. So, because Klay Thompson ain't doing it. So, like, in a way, he gets to play both roles at the same time, which is a very rare circumstance, I mean, the closest thing I can think of probably is probably Tim Duncan when he came as a rookie. That's probably the closest
in
thing.
terms of circumstance, yeah.
And I think also too, we'll get some of the other guys, but yeah, like I expect Cooper to do what Cooper's doing, and he already started a little bit in the preseason. So
yeah. I think, I mean, we've tweeted this out before, but Ace Bailey looks awesome so far. 100%. He looks like NBA ready. I was speaking to a guy earlier and like, this guy might win Rookie of the Year. And if he gets the minutes I think he's going to get in Utah and the touches, you can see the Flag's going to get touches, but like Beyond just said, Anthony Davis is going to be the number one option. And then there's Kyrie who will be coming back at some point. And D'Lo likes to get his offense too. So I think what a time for a bad team like Utah to get a talent like Ace. And I'm pleased for them. And they get a little core that's building, quite honestly, with Keontae George and him and Taylor Hendricks. I hope they don't screw it up because they got something there. But Ace looks very good right now. He's coming off screens. Like the jump shot looks smooth. I mean, we discussed him with some people who were not high on him at all. And I just thought maybe they were just high in general. But Ace can play.
Ace can play. Yeah.
Yeah. And my thing with Ace has always been is like his game. I thought his is, we'll get to the next guy in a second. VJ, I thought their games might translate best to the NBA because the shots I saw him attempting and actually hitting, those were, as I call, NBA shots. They weren't college shots. And I think the people were getting caught up was like, oh, you always make the joke in this case, Kenya, about the separations. Like, dude, you got a skill set. You don't need that much separation in this case, or what quote separation is. And it's like, no, man, that skill set is something that in this case you can't teach, man. That's something that is NBA ready right now. And to see him, even for the summer league, you can see in this case it was disappointing he didn't get to play more in summer league. But even just the Rockets game that you mentioned there, coach, that I went and checked out afterwards. Man, the shot making was something else, man. It's like that is no joke. Those are playoff shots already for the young man.
Absolutely. I really like what Utah is building. I just hope that they're just not going to tank again for Debansa, but if they do, I suppose I understand. He's right. He's right there at BYU, and let's just put it this way: you don't get talents like Ace Bailey and Debansa in Utah.
Well, sorry. What I'm hearing from this draft, there is a world where Debansa might be there, and you may not need the number one pick to get him. Yes,
I mean, there's a couple.
This is what I'm hearing so far. It's early yet. Things shift. I'm just saying that this draft class is very deep.
Oh, it is.
I've heard
whether it be Cam Boozer, Darren Peterson, AJ Debansa, like there's no shortage of guys. And so I really do think that it is something that it's like this upcoming draft class is going to be very interesting. But there's another guy that you didn't mention that played yesterday, and he had a really good debut. And I keep trying to tell y'all. I keep trying to tell people that that this guy might have some skills, and that would be Mr. Dylan Harper.
Yep, played yesterday.
Yep. That's one of the quartet that I was referring to. That I'm just shaking my head like, what were we thinking?
And all people already, because I know that there was a lot of people from San Antonio that were assuming that, you just bring them off the bench slowly along, and it's like already you're hearing the rumblings. It's like I don't know if we can keep them off the bench. It's like I've been trying to tell y'all, someone's gonna have to move because they have Stephen Castle, they have Dylan Harper, and they have De'Aaron Fox. That's a lot of people at the guard spot, and a lot of people that all want to be a guard. So, maybe Stephen Castle can end up being, shifting over someone like Jeremy Sohan. I'm sure that the Spurs wouldn't mind that. But they, it's how much off ball is he going to get into? Speaking of off ball, we're going to bring it back into the Raptors right now and talk about.
We just give love to one more guy. You can't forget my man from Philly, man. Come on now.
Oh, VJ? I thought we mentioned him. Okay, sure. Hey. He did try to end. He tried to catch a body, and on the Knicks.
Mitchell Robinson ready to go back to the IR, man. I was like, what the heck?
Mitchell Robinson. So yeah, another James Harden situation. It could be, but the thing that I will say about the Spurs is that they still have Wemby, and they just it's just so much talent. And in a way, it's a little bit different because it was James Harden versus Ibaka. With this case, it's like, well, which guard do you want?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so there are some similarities. There are definitely some differences.
Amazing what you do right when a franchise decides when they want to put their eggs in the basket for the draft. Wow, what ends up happening a couple of years later? Shocking.
For sure. I mean, just a little bit of patience, and you see the rewards. You see Houston where they can get rid of a solid level, caliber player. However, people feel about Jalen Green, he was good enough with one singular pick to be able to then go for Kevin Durant. But they were patient. You don't just go and go and go and go, and every single year you're in the mix. You have to sometimes take a step back to be able to take a step forward. The Raptors currently, so far in preseason, just to shift over, unless there are any other teams that you want to talk about. If not, we can talk more about the overall broader NBA the next time. So last chance to talk about any teams or whatever before we get into Raptors stuff.
We'll hold back. I'm going to see a little bit more. See what my man from Atlanta does. So we'll wait for a little bit more because he's another favorite of mine. So
yes, yeah, he will have opportunity. He has looked decent, but he is kind of behind some guys in that rotation, so he won't have as much of an opportunity to showcase his gifts. But that team is going to be an interesting team for sure as they come together. So back to the Raptors, they're 2-1 for preseason. And the first thing, just to kick it off, I'm going to go to Coach first. Does preseason? It's oh, by the way, Effie, it is Newell. Does preseason matter, Coach?
Wins and losses, no. Execution and process, yes. I think that is a bit of a thing that teams like to do. They like to get their offense set up, their defense organized, get people to try to gel. Doesn't matter if you win or if you lose, as long as you see enough of execution on both ends of the floor. I think as long as you're seeing that, you're okay. If you're not seeing it, and that carries into the regular season, then it could be problems for teams. And that's not just in basketball. I think that's kind of in any sport. Hockey, baseball, doesn't matter. Football, I'm sure, too.
So the way that I look at it, right, is if you see a concern in like one game and the player or the team has a chance to try the same thing the next time, down, the next trip down, the next game, so to speak, you get a chance to work those kinks out. The problem when you don't, like in the Raptors case, where you're not playing a consistent rotation for a couple games, again, it goes back to have they seen enough evaluation, which is always going to be a looming question. I think that preseason matters to a point. I don't think that is something to overreact with, but at the same time, there are things you can't have no reaction to preseason as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's all about balance here. And I think that balance is important. Today we will be talking about Scottie Barnes because we've talked about RJ Barrett, we've talked about Ethan Pirtle when you were gone, Coach. Actually, we didn't talk about RJ. I think we saved RJ for you, but
we talked about him a while back when there was some trade rumor. Was it some trade rumors or something like that?
I vaguely remember. Actually, yes. You know what? We did talk about RJ.
No, we did because I brought up the topic about how he's been treated by the organization.
Yes. Sorry, it's just I thought so just to kind of recap all the games, they lost the first one and then they won the other two. They came back. It wasn't a fake comeback, but they came back in the other two. The game last night, Mobo really did a good job on both ends of the ball, and he had the game-winning ceiling bucket, so to speak, to be able to steer the ship home. Now, one thing I want to just make one complaint, and I think Coach is going to agree with me on this because I saw him tweet on this, and I agree with his tweet, which is if you are going to have yes, it's a preseason, but it's a home opener, the first time you play in front of your crowd, some of these people, all they can afford is a preseason ticket. The best thing that you can do is at least run the starters out for like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, that's all they had to do. Shout out to Steve Simmons for pointing that out last night on Twitter as well. I know he's a columnist who writes on the Raptors and sports, I think, but I really don't like when teams do this, and especially with the Raptors when the expectations are higher this year. People have been excited to see Brandon Ingram, to see how all this works. And like Kenyon just said, no reason you can't go 10 minutes a half with the five of them, and then you sit them down. And so I was really disappointed in that last night, and I hope that does not happen again for the rest of the preseason.
Yeah, because there's still a lot of preseason to go. I think it's 6 games total, so it's like you're basically halfway through preseason, and all of a sudden you're sitting guys. And to be fair, if you're going to talk about the challenges of chemistry, and you're not going to play the guys together, when that was a big thing that was coming in, then I mean, okay, then I'm not going to give you the excuse of that because you're not even trying to make it work out,
Yeah.
or clearly you think that it's worked out to the point where you have something sorted out. So the next time everyone steps on the floor, I expect better. Maybe I'm being harsh. I don't know.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think you are. It was disappointing last night, just as a fan for a home opener. Now I understand if it was game 2 of a home, like their second home opener, or sorry, second home game, and you're like, okay, we're gonna kind of rest the starters and stuff like that. I get that, that's fine, but I think a home opener is always a big deal for any basketball sports team. And I know I get it's preseason, but at the same time, try to generate that momentum going forward, especially with a guy like Ingram, because quite frankly, in the first few games that we've watched him play, we haven't had a guy like him in a couple of years.
Yeah, yeah. Now I know a lot of people want to say, takes subtle digs at the past Raptors that have been here. Say Ingram is the best. It's like, okay, let's not have revisionist history. Ingram has not been an All NBA player. Ingram is really good though, and I think yes, to your point, he provides a talent and an aesthetic that that has not been here in terms of he's a very pleasurable watch from a basketball standpoint. Like
Yep.
it really is, and he definitely gets his own shot. And I do think that they're finding him in ways, whether it's coming off ball at times where he's cutting around guys into the basket, or even a lot of the on ball reps, which I expected as well. That he is clearly taking. Some of it is him getting used to his own offense and figuring out where to get him and his, which is not a bad thing. But also some of it is this is how the offense is probably going to look when he's on the floor, which makes a lot of sense. Beyond your any thoughts before we continue?
Well, I'll pick up 2 things in this case here. One, I guess going back to your discussion about playing the starters or not playing the starters, I'm with you. I don't think you were that harsh at all, because if you're going to kind of put this out here and certain guys can't play after one preseason game, or some guys can't even play yet for a preseason game,
yeah,
I don't want to hear any excuses at that point. Which also, too, by the way, Raptor fans, that should be a tad bit concerning. All right?
Yeah.
We haven't even played a full regular season game yet, and Pirtle has not shown his face yet. That's
like
a bit
Bobby
concerning.
said in his presser very quickly, yes, everyone's healthy. Is there someone in particular that you want to ask about? Well, doesn't look like they're healthy.
Right,
He's got the sniffles now.
Right.
Sorry?
He's got the sniffles now.
Yes. Yeah.
Like
yes.
the approach that Darko and this team's taking right now, they're taking it like in this case here, the 2003 or 2000, 2003,
or like the OKC Thunder,
Detroit Pistons, where everyone knows who the starting five is in this case here. They're just chilling there as they're resting for another championship run. This is not this, or the Thunder. This is not that. You need to figure out where guys are playing, how they're playing with each other, how in this case the 5-man unit's going to work, and I think that starting lineup is a very big issue. I'll be honest with you, off the top, I think their bench is halfway decent.
Yep.
Off the top. I think what people are going to find really quickly is how good is the starting lineup? And can they really be cohesive enough? That's going to be the question in my mind while I'm sitting here watching what I'm seeing. And to Coach's point, and to your point, the Dukies seem to be playing well together, playing off each other quite nicely. But can we get anyone else to play with them that well?
Well, sorry, I just say okay. So he does have the sniffles, I suppose. But here's the thing: I heard in the first game that they kept him out as a precaution because his back was tightening up.
Yeah, it was the lower back issue, and then it was the sniffles, according to Michael Grange.
Gotcha.
Man, I don't want to go through another season of this. I don't think we're going to, but it's so irritating. Just every time I think about last year and all the hoops that they had to go through to come up with excuses to lose, even though they started winning when they were supposed to lose at times.
Coach, why don't they just do what they do in hockey in this case? This is a lower body injury and just call it a day.
Lower body injury.
I love that they do that. When you say so-and-so has a lower body injury, but you'll play game 5. It's like, okay. Start slapping away, boys, and see which part hurts.
To each their own, I suppose. So yeah, I mean, I will say also the bench is coming together. The Ingram, before we get into Scottie, Ingram with the bench unit seems to be the best pairing of a vet with the bench unit. I find. I know everyone's trying to push RJ to the bench unit, but I think Ingram actually works better because I think he has, of the starters, one of the best combinations of being able to get his own shot and create advantages, combined with being able to get guys involved.
Yeah. Well, the starters don't really have, other than Ingram, have guys who can create advantages for themselves, and neither the bench. So he's got to do it in both units to create advantages for the start for the whatever 5 is on the court, which is, I don't know if that's sustainable for a guy who's pretty injury prone, but I hope I'm wrong on that.
We about to find out, sir.
We about to find out. We about to find out that grand piano that he might have to carry some this year.
Yeah, he might be walking like OG soon.
Gosh.
So let's just get into it. So Scottie Barnes. So the first he has only played one game in preseason, so we can only talk about the one game. So this is a precautionary measure that if anyone flies in and is coming in midway, they're like, "Oh, it's only one game." I'm giving this disclaimer now. So come back to this point in I think it's 21 minutes and 40-ish seconds. Replay this for your pleasure and to calm yourself in that sense. But realistically, yeah, he's played one game, but the game was up and down. We'll talk about both the offense and the defense, and then we'll get into how it can work with him this year. Now, we knew that coming into this year, he was going to play a different role because Bobby, the coach, and Ingram all said that Ingram is essentially, not so many words, but I'll being facetious here, saying like, I am the captain now, kind of thing. Like, Ingram likes to shoot, Scottie likes to pass, and that has been something that is said like at least 3 times in 3 different public instances by Bobby. And Barnes is saying, I like the more of a Aaron Gordon, Draymond type role, which people took umbrage with Draymond, I think Aaron Gordon saying that Scottie could be like the next him. But I mean, I'd take that player. That's a pretty damn good player in my opinion. But hey, so things are looking like, we saw Scottie Barnes on ball with a higher usage role last year. And I say higher usage because usage is sometimes skewed as a number, because if you get to the free throw line a lot like RJ, you're going to have an automatically higher usage stat. Now with Barnes, he's higher usage without getting to the free throw line. So the question is, can he get to a point where he can be lower usage and have either at minimum the same impact, if not better, ideally better, because last year the team was not good as a whole. So that is really the question. I know some people will argue about the exact usage, 20% or what. I don't care about that, but the overall point that we're trying to look at right now in this segment is, can he be successful with lower usage, and what does that look like with him being an off-ball player? So does anyone want to say anything before I start pulling up stats?
I think if you're a Scottie Barnes fan, this could be an interesting tell on his mentality as a player this year. Because because it's rare, but there's certain players kind of like this. You don't see him too often. In some ways, Rasheed Wallace was a kind of like a player like this, but more talented offensively, but a similar type of thing. Where if they, in this case, had the ability, in this case, not to score a lot of points because of like other players around them, they were going to force the issue. They would be very content some nights scoring 10 points. And I think if people are going to realize that Scottie Barnes' natural instinct is probably that. Like, I think you're going to find a lot of nights where it's going to be like, hey, what's going on here for some of the Scottie faithful? And it's like, I think this is the natural progression of where probably his likely mindset or where he is as a player
Hmm.
where he feels comfortable. And I'm just going to be straight with it. I mean, so I think what you saw in the preseason game, even though it's one, it wouldn't surprise me. We see a lot more games like this year where he might just do other stuff and he's not even gonna either look for his shot if he's struggling with it. So like, because I also too, I think one of the things we have to realize after now dealing with Scottie now for 4 years, Scottie's not the most confident offensive player. If it's not going right, he's not the type of guy in this case here is like, I will shoot myself out of it. I'm going to find a way to get the line to get myself going. He will kind of just shut it down and find some other ways to get, maybe contribute.
Yeah, I mean, when his shot isn't going, and I'll focus for now on the 3-point shot. When the 3-point shot isn't going, when it's going, it looks great because it's like you could just bomb threes and then that's it. But to me, that is not an indication of a complete offensive package from a player standpoint. So what you notice is when it's not going, it'll just disappear completely from his game, and the way he gets his offense looks completely different and is a lot more inconsistent. But that's what he needs to focus on, especially if he's going to be a really good playoff performer, is how does he find ways to get to his spots in different ways when he's not the fastest athlete on the team. He's not necessarily the most skilled from a handling standpoint, but he does have some strength around him. And some of it is up here with the mentality. Beyond, you were saying.
Throw this back to you two. Do
Hmm.
you think Scottie knows where his spots are on the floor?
No.
Okay, I agree with you. No, I just want to make sure. I want to see when we start this discussion, where's everyone's heads at? Because I don't think
Yeah.
he has a clue where his
I don't
spots
I
are.
don't know where coach stands on that, but
Yeah.
yeah.
He's gonna try to figure out where it's gonna be now with Ingram in the lineup because some of these players they like to operate in similar spots. I think Scotty's going to have to operate more in the post now. If they're going to ask Ingram to take more catch and shoot threes, got to have Scotty inside. And I think that would be good for Scotty too because we know he's a big, strong guy. So just trying to find those mismatches, which I know Kenny's mentioned a few times. Like anytime there's going to be a switch this year, because we saw in the past where he'd have Donovan Mitchell or someone and he wouldn't go at him. He's got to do that more this year because he certainly can when you get those mismatches on small guards.
Right. Exactly.
I just want to, just before you move on,
Hmm.
I had listened to what Bobby said when they were asked about Scotty this year. He said, well, the baseline is he has to bring energy, he has to rebound and play defense. I said, okay. And then he said about, when you have a kid, you kind of grow up a bit. And I'm like, an interesting choice of words from the guy now who is the head of basketball ops about your franchise guy. I didn't view that quite as a glowing endorsement, but how I did view it is it's like there's this guy behind you with the initial CMB, and we're hoping that he's going to push you to another level. And I think that's possible. It could, but now that there's a little bit more internal competition, but we're going to see about that. But I just want to say, yeah, Bobby's choice of words were interesting. I'm not trying to take this out of context or throw shade at Scotty or anything like that. It's not what I'm trying to do. But I've heard Masai be really speak glowingly about Scotty. Scotty's his guy. He drafted him. I get that. But Bobby's choice of words were interesting, and I'll just leave it at that.
Well, Masai had some moments like this too, where he hinted at some of the same similar things. So it's like I don't find it. I mean, I might be saying stronger. I found it more like an indictment in some ways because that shouldn't be your baseline. That should be a given.
Yeah.
Right? If you're a franchise player, that's a given. We're now looking for the pastries, looking for the stuff on top. That stuff is not what we should be looking for in year 5.
Yeah.
So
but I think
very concerning.
Yeah. Just before Kenny goes, I do think we're starting to see a little bit of what his game is becoming, of what he is, is he going to be Jason Tatum and average 30? No, it ain't him. We're starting to realize more about his game, for better or for worse. We're starting to realize more about it.
So again, I'm gonna pull up stats on the screen at some point, but I do want to, you hear some people use these counter arguments, and suggest, well, Jason Kidd wasn't always this and that, or I don't know, LeBron wasn't always this. I understand that you can facilitate more, and focus on that as an aspect of your game, but Jason Kidd was a Hall of Fame player. and
Thank you.
had a much better handle than Scottie does right now. Um, and I just think making that type of comparison is setting him up for potential failure. Um, because he needs to be the best version of himself. He's not a guard like Jason Kidd is a guard. And I've also heard that some people suggest that to prove that he is not, say, people think that he's a role player or whatever, to prove that he's not a role player, they have to ergo must give him the ball in his hands like a point guard. And it doesn't work like that because you can't go another year where you're trying the same experiment that you just tried last year. As Scottie just said, we done with the experiments. He
I love
himself is
that.
saying that.
I love that.
I do love that from him, and I
Yep.
do like the fact that he is owning that. He's like, no, we're done with that. So it's not a bad thing. It's like right now, it's like, how do I become a winning player?
Yep.
Okay, you know, and that is that is a really important thing for him to be able to do. And just for reference, like even early on, Jason Kidd was averaging 9 assists with like 2 turnovers. It was it was like a 5-to-1 ratio practically. It's just there's levels to this. We don't have to go through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it as a diss to Scottie, right? It's
Oh.
just don't make that comparison.
The diss to
Scottie
Jason
is
Kidd, to
Scottie.
be honest with you, I watched Jason Kidd in California college, man. That's not the same thing we're seeing here, folks. Trust me, that ain't the same thing.
To go into it, last year Scottie averaged 19 points, 8 rebounds, and just I'm bumping up the things a little bit, and he averaged a hair under 6, so 6 assists basically. He shot 45-ish% from the field if you round up, and he averaged 27% from deep. So the thing here is, and he got 75% from the free throw line. In terms of his efficiency, without going any further and without overcomplicating where he needs to be on the court, there are ways that he can be a more efficient player. He can be a much more efficient player in his drives because his drive efficiency is really bad. I think someone was pointing out that he's very much a player that relies on transition, and yet out of the entire NBA of 450 players, he was 350th or in and around that mark in terms of his efficiency with transition. So that needs to improve. They're going to try to improve that by having him off the ball instead of starting the break. They're going to have him be more of a play finisher, use his big body attacking the hoop. We will see that and how that plays out. I think that's actually not a bad strategy. He needs to be everyone. This is not just him, but just so people know, give me everyone this. Everyone should be trying to aim for 80% from the line or better as a free throw shooter. RJ Barrett, you got to be better than Pirtle. Pirtle, you got to be better than Pirtle, right? And so on down.
Funny enough, Pearl's the one I give credit to. He's actually got better as a free throw shooter.
I still want him to get to 80%.
That
should be the goal. That's all I'm saying. Get to the goal.
I mean,
Scottie wasn't bad. He was 75%. He was not a team low. He needs. I'm challenging every single person on the team, other than like basically Grady and I think like IQ, and that's it. So everyone else aim for 80%. So yeah, I mean, I'm not here to go through every single year of Scottie, but there was just the whole dad. You got that right. I'm not here to like relitigate every single year of Scottie, but I think the key thing that we're looking at is like I remember I asked someone this question and I said like, can Scottie average the same amount of points while taking a step back in terms of his responsibilities on the court? And the answer should be no, unless he becomes way, way more efficient. If he becomes like 50, 40, 90, yeah, you could do that. But it's, I forget who it was, but they were like, oh yeah, like if he just shoots like, what was it? The true shooting percentage is, I'm just trying to find what it actually was, but they said basically if the true shooting percentage gets to 58% true shooting when it was 52 last year, and he's never been at 58% in his career, then like, yeah, I think that that's a tough thing to gamble on and to bet on. And so what I would say is that it's yes, I agree with the people that say it's not just the numbers, but they themselves need to also adjust the expectations that yes, there's going to be times when he's going to be at his best, not scoring 20 points a night. In fact, if we see him score 20 points a night, it's probably because Ingram went down and he's getting struggle buckets.
It could also be though if Ingram is balling out and they're throwing double teams at him. Now, if they're able, Sky's able to get some baskets that way, it's possible. It was similar like that year 3 when him and Siakam, everyone knew that Siakam was the guy. Scottie had a 10, 15 game stretch where he played out of his mind. I think he was averaging like 24, 10 rebounds, 7
Yeah,
or
when
8
he was
assists.
averaging like 40% from
40% from three. Like he was out of his mind. I'm not saying that he can't do that anymore. I think that's not likely to happen. But if we took that down a couple of notches, I mean, he'd still have pretty darn good numbers.
So he can improve. I think getting to 20% or sorry, 20 points a night is really difficult unless, to your point, he's shooting 40% from deep.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to assume that is going to be a sustainable number for him. I think he can improve on 3, but I think assuming that he's going to get to 40% from deep.
Yeah, I don't see that.
I don't see it.
I think you're aiming for like 33%. That's still much better than last year. He was like 27% last year.
That team also, and during parts of that stretch at least, that team also had OG as well. So you had 2 guys that were pulling gravity in different ways from Scottie, and IQ just doesn't pull gravity in the same way.
Ingram does. I think the question is, will RJ do the same? I don't know, quite honestly, but
he could. The problem is RJ's a different type of player, and back to Beyond's point, where do they all want to operate on the floor, right? Yeah. RJ likes to drive. Ingram likes to drive. Scottie needs to drive. So then, ergo, where are you getting this stuff? What I wish right now with preseason, because of where they're playing, it's hard for me to pull the things, the clips, because they're not using the SPO-Track certified arenas. And so it's hard for me to go and clip and say, okay, let's look at this individual thing. So we will look at some old footage. But what I've noticed, just in my opinion, there's times where he's trying to get into the post, but he doesn't know where to situate himself relative to the other person who's in the post. So he's either going down too deep into the post and cramping space for the other guy and not pulling himself into like that middle range, true mid-range area, or what he really likes is he likes being on one of the sides of the baseline and doing his fade away from there.
Well,
let's just get into it pretty soon, but yeah.
Go ahead, because I mean, I'm struggling with this a little bit because I still feel like I think I'm at the point now, and maybe even Sky's at the point where he says no more experimenting. It feels like we're trying to find ways to maximize a player at this point here who does not have the level of skill yet to run to put that much offensive focus on them. Let's put it that way. Because the coach's point, I agree. He should be in the post. Problem is, in this case here, when he goes to the post, he only really has one move, which is that fadeaway.
Yeah.
And once everyone reads the fadeaway, which they started doing once they figured it out after 2 weeks of hot shooting, what are you going to do then? And it still comes back to my point. You have to start developing more aspects to your game. We'll see if the handle looks any better this year than it did in the past. I don't know. But until those things happen, it's going to be very difficult, to Kenyon's point about the efficiency numbers, because those things help you with the efficiency.
Right, exactly. I mean, one of the things that I'm noticing, for example, with this, you'd think that Ochai would help him with being able to space the floor and allow him to attack so he'd get better rim numbers. But again, he doesn't attack the rim how you would hope that he would attack the rim. But that said, yes, when Ochai is there, he's able to shoot a lot better, right, at the rim. So that is showing that it helps. But the problem is Ochai himself is offensively challenged, we'll say, at points. There's just limitations to what he can do. A lot of the other things is that the minutes distribution with these are pretty difficult, and also it's if everyone was at full strength, Mobo's probably out of rotation, That's just the reality here.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna kind of sift through. If there's anything that you guys see, we're gonna ignore Chomchi for a second. But if there's anything that
There's
you
the
see,
one. There's the one.
Chomchi,
There's the
No.
no Chomchi. By the way, Daniel, I agree with you, man. But hey, man, I'm fighting this battle with Chomchi on my own right now, man. But hey, man, keep fighting the good fight, Daniel. Give me a backup center, damn it.
oh, I see. I agree. I agree with this.
I agree too. Yeah.
So this is the one that you wanted to see, right?
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Okay. So here's what's sticking out to you. So the interesting thing, I guess, is you're looking at without Grady and Grady without Scottie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the interesting thing because you'd think that they would be a natural pairing. I as I scroll down, eventually we'll also get to quickly because everyone seems to want to force feed that as well, and I just don't know if it's working, and we could talk about why. But the interesting thing here is that, yeah, to your point, I mean, like without Grady, there are some differences. He's improved. The real thing is the points, but the other man, Grady without Scottie, it's completely it's very you're seeing a lot of jumps. It's not just 0.2, it's 4 points better as an efficiency. You're seeing 6% better as an efficiency, right? You're seeing better rim efficiency. So what does that mean? It means that right now, when Barnes is for last season, when Barnes was off ball, everyone in general, including Barnes, had trouble. I know some people want to say that Barnes is like Einstein on the floor and everyone needs to bow down to his, prowess, but we have to look at it on the whole and say everyone needed to be better and everyone needed to improve in terms of where they're situating themselves on the court. Any thoughts?
Well, I'm just looking at Grady's numbers without Sky.
sorry.
I'm thinking most of that came from the first 2 months of the year when Grady and RJ were just kind of playing out of their mind a little bit. Like they reached getting 25 to 30 a night. And I know Grady kind of once quickly came back and Scottie came back. Some of his numbers went down. But this is very interesting to see.
Yes. Yes, Samson.
Grady was loving to leave.
Yeah,
Right.
it was actually.
Yes.
Yeah. But okay, going back to your point you made earlier, Kenyon, right? Like how to get Scottie's game off. And you've been beating this drum for like 2-3 years. But Scottie, for whatever reason, the coaching staff, however the offense is run, or Scottie's disposition, is screening.
Yeah.
He doesn't like to screen. Now, you talk about guys that have gravity, right? And we know Ingram has gravity. Fair enough. You know who has a little bit of gravity on this team too? That dude that we're talking about.
I mean, so I tweeted this out actually, and Darko made a really good comment after the last game, and it was so well put. Thank you. It might actually shout out to Samson. I think Samson actually mentioned the question that led to him speaking. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, guys.
No, go ahead, man.
So he basically said, and I'm paraphrasing here because I'm not going to pull up the tweet, but he basically, in essence, said there's times when, number one, he's seeing that Grady has improved. Number two, that Grady has a lot of gravity and does a lot off ball. He's a really good off ball player because of his 3-point gravity. But he's also saying that there's the teammates essentially need to recognize these options.
Yes.
And
if Scottie says screen for him and just dove to the hoop, I see like guys cutting off their arm to get out the 3-point line for Grady almost every night.
And you could also say, so whether it's Scottie, whether it's IQ at times, understanding how to balance getting his offense as well as going downhill or when to go downhill, how deep to go, I call it probing. So it's almost like how Trae Young will like probe in and out, but kind of like really have good control over like the pace of the actual offensive possession. That needs to get better.
Yeah. What I noticed too, and I think Beyond You knows this last year as well. It was a game against Minnesota. Scott, I think Scottie was back playing some of the guys, but you always want to look at who is the best defender guarding on the Raptors. And the best defender on Minnesota is Jaden McDaniels. Who was Jaden McDaniels guarding? He's guarding Grady Dick.
That was his assignment.
Yes. Was it guarding RJ? was guarding Scottie,
No.
was guarding Grady Dick. That was his assignment. And I'm like, okay, that's the reputation that Grady was getting, at least at that point. It's like, we got to start guarding this guy a bit more because he moves around the court so much. He's cutting. He's moving from corner to corner. He's coming off screens, catch and shoot. It's like, we need someone who's going to be able to keep up with him.
Who did they play the game to in the preseason just now the other day? Sacramento. I saw Grady come off, in this case, some type of curl. He came around, in this case, the three-point line. And the guy that was chasing him was hustling to chase him because he's chasing him. And the dude that was coming off the guy pass it was running to him as well, too. It's like, there is obviously the scouting report is like, yo, don't let this dude get a clean look because we ain't trying to get him going. So use that to your advantage. But the Raptors don't seem to be capable of doing so sometimes. Or to Darko's point, it's like, they're not reading the room. Like, I don't understand that. Like, it's like, guys, man, and to some extent, to your point, I think Scottie could be effective with that with Quickly if he wanted to, because Quickly is a very good shooter from three.
Yeah. Everyone wants that to happen, but the problem is that I think in terms of how to control an offensive possession, both of them seem to have some sort of part of it missing.
Well, okay, here's what my theory is with the Quickly Scottie situation. We already talked about the Scottie part. He doesn't want to do the screens. So that's one issue already. On the IQ part is whoever's screening for IQ, whatever the case would be, IQ always seems to take the ball partially in. Whatever the case may be, he's not willing to go all the way in, or he's not capable of getting all the way to the hoop. Then he brings it back out, which now, by the way, the clock is ticking on the shot clock. And now he's thinking trying to get a mismatch. The mismatch usually what ends up happening, he shoots a jump shot when it's all said and done. Or he tries to get some type of off-balance floater. Like, that's not good offense, guys.
I think to tack onto that point, I know that some people are very hesitant to do mismatch hunting. I'm not saying that you got to mismatch hunt like back in the day with Nick Nurse, but there's a balance. You should be able to like try to like if there's a perfect example. I'll use Scottie Barnes because we're on the Scottie Barnes topic today. Mm-hmm. With Scottie, there have been times, multiple times actually, at least twice with Cleveland and once, if we go all the way back to year 2 with Atlanta, where he had the ball given to him. He had the ball and he had a smaller defender on him. I'll talk about the Cleveland one first. There was at least twice where Donovan Mitchell had 3-4, fouls on him. And it's like, Scottie, take him to the post. Like, take it to him. And it's like, dude, like this dude should not be able to guard you if you back him down 1, 2, boom, go over the top, or whatever. Like Donovan Mitchell's like what 6'2"?
Yeah, right. But this goes
He's
back.
Athletic as heck, but man.
Yeah, but when the foundation and the foundation is not really set yet, this is where the lack of confidence starts happening. Because to your point, Donovan Mitchell's 6'2". On a good day, he might stretch to 6'3". Whatever the case may be, when he's posting up Donovan Mitchell, he doesn't feel confident enough with his footwork that he can actually draw a foul on Donovan Mitchell. So what ends up happening is he'll pass it back out or he's going to fade away, which doesn't help from a standpoint of putting any pressure on Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell's like, sure, shoot a fadeaway 16-footer, knock yourself out.
The fadeaways on smaller players is because it's like you're
bailing them out.
You were taller. Just rise up.
Rise up.
Because the other thing is you're not creating. I'm not saying that you have to purposefully be a foul merchant, but you're not creating an opportunity for you to get fouled. Right.
The raising up, you're going to likely get fouled because someone's going to catch you in the elbow. Right. We saw it plenty of times last playoff series with Knicks Pacers. Right. Anytime any of those bigs, especially Siakam, you got Brunson and them dudes. It was lunchtime. Yeah. It was lunchtime.
Yeah. Every player though needs like a variety of moves they can go to. Like obviously Siakam has the spin move, but Siakam just can't rely on the spin move, even though he beats a lot of guys with it. You got to have different ones. Like same with Scottie. Scottie's got that little mid post kind of fadeaway that he'll use sometimes, which I like. I remember Gannon Baker was telling me one time, he's like, I came up with like 68 moves that you could do with the basketball. when someone is guarding you. 68. Obviously, you're not going to have 68 in your arsenal, but you should have 8.
Right.
Right?
Gan's talking
Every player.
You know who Gan's talking about in theory? Kevin McHale. That's who he's talking about.
Yes,
Kevin
probably.
McHale
I'm sure.
from the same block all the time and got every single move you can think of to counter with. All right, and that's a whole issue altogether for an NBA societal issue. But for this particular player, he needs a counter. At some point, he has to develop a counter, a drop step, a spin move, something that goes towards
the thing is he has a spin from the perimeter, but his spin from the perimeter is a little bit out of control in terms of his ability to control the ball with his hand. You'll see actually when he did the spin in the scrimmage practice or whatever, he actually completely let go of the ball with both hands, and it was like it just in the air. And if you had someone closing in on your weak side, that could be picked off easily. So it's just something that like there's ways for him to be a more impactful and like player for sure.
Let's show some
he
of the
needs
video,
to commit
man.
to a specific type.
So
so let's
good stuff here.
Okay, so let's go. So you want to show the Miami one first?
Yeah, show the Miami one because I thought it was the best of Scottie in that game.
Okay. So first things first. Can you see a Z screen?
Bingo. We're good.
Can. Yeah, it's just a little small.
That's better.
Yeah.
Oh, whoops. That's better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I'm gonna just do one other thing. Hopefully that helps. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go through. We can start with the ones that he made, and just kind of go through it. Comment if you want.
Yeah, no hesitation. Just looking at the hoop. Scottie's one of those players that when some guys that you could tell in this case just by their body language or how they're shooting, you could tell they're having a good game. If you just popped on the couch, you can say, okay, Scottie's having a good game after watching 2 minutes. Just how he's looking for the ball or looking at the hoop. Like, Kevin Durant, for example, looks the same. He could be 1 for 10 or 10 for 10. Kevin Durant is going to look the same. It doesn't matter what the case is.
So this is actually a really good cut here. Really good cut.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Boom. And it's like, look, you're bigger than the other guy. Just go straight up. Yeah. And that's perfect.
Good back screen by RJ. I think he mainly got the guy.
That's Samson's boy there, Davion Mitchell made that pass.
Folks at home, make sure you make contact with the defense.
Shout out to this is a Davion Mitchell.
Davion special right here, man. All right.
So he passed. Actually, it was Davion to Pirtle, and then Pirtle, I believe, to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There you go. Right. Boom.
Nice.
Boom.
Yep.
That's good stuff, right?
Folks at home, make sure you make contact with someone on the screen.
Yes, and
don't screen a ghost. Doesn't work.
Yes, and also this is how you not only get a good back screen. This is against a good team too.
Yep.
It's I think it takes Jimmy a little bit of time to adjust here. And then it's like, okay,
that's very undisciplined by Miami, though. Obviously, that's a back screen and a switch, and the guy behind him. I don't know who was behind Jimmy there, but that's just you got.
It should be Bam, but Bam in this one hedged up a little bit high on Pirtle, and then I think that they adjusted. They adjusted later in this game. If I'm remembering it correctly, but
read your scouting report, man. Stay at the foul line. Perfect.
So I don't know if you guys want to see more threes by Scottie, or we just want to look at the makes.
I want to see when he started driving because he had a lot of drives to the hoop late in the game, if I recall. This game.
Yes. Okay. So
this was last year.
This is last year. Yeah.
Oh, Sunday night.
There's only one game.
Yeah.
Okay. So there you go.
Look at post right there. Bam. There's the drops that I was talking about. That's not bad. That's not bad, right? But look at the aggression, right? We're not wasting time and bam.
So that guy had his hands over him a little bit too, but there's no second guessing. You just go.
Yeah.
Clearly that guy's small. I don't know who it is on him, but
I can't tell. Number 18.
Yeah.
But that's the shot right there where we're describing the Donovan Mitchell play in this case with what the shot he should be looking at there. Here he comes again. Okay. Yeah, this is boom.
Screen by Pirtle. I don't know if I like this high of a screen. But I wonder if they're doing it because of the to protect against the handle. But hey,
trying to get Scottie go downhill.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I like. I used to like when he was run it for Siakam. I always like this play for get him going
But
downhill.
like, do you like it being this high up with Pirtle specifically? That's my.
It's okay, but Pirtle kind of runs into him.
Yeah, Pirtle.
Almost. Look, he's running, and then Scottie kind of dribbles into him a little bit there, and then that's a tough hoop.
Pirtle probably thinking that Sky's going to go left, right?
So he's going to go. He's going to go down, not down to the corner, but down and take this angle, and then give him that space so that he can hit it there. I wish I could annotate on this.
Yeah, it technically should be a 2-on-1 at this point on Bam. I guess that's Bam defending, right? But in this case,
Bam defending. Yeah, and he slows down because he wants to feel the guy on his back.
Right, Hero is on his back or Robinson. But the thing is that now you make Bam now be able to defend two dudes.
Yeah, but this goes back to my point. I don't think it's Robin. Who is this?
Yeah. What he could have done there, and I'm just being picky. He could have dribbled right at Bam's lead foot, and that could have allowed Pirtle to have more of a lane open up.
Exactly.
Yeah, because these two are headed towards the, on a collision course in some ways. So I have a theory. This is my theory: is that Scottie, because he knows his handle's not the greatest, and at times he struggles with his handle. I think that he's checking to see where the guy is. That's why he likes to feel the defender on his back.
Also consider this too. He would be forced to drive with his left hand, which obviously right.
Pirtle.
Right.
Like, now, because Pirtle has to be like, "Excuse me."
Right. So this is the part I'm talking about where he understands his game, right? Because he's gonna hit this shot, but look at the traffic all around him when he gets his shot off. Look at this. You got Bam down here. Whoever's trailing
guys around him.
You got another guy kind of snatching down the dribble. This is a difficult shot to pull off, and you can't be having a diet like this. Finish off the point down the play there, Kenyon. Let me see how. That's a tough shot off one leg. That's like Evil Knievel stuff, high degree of difficulty. That's the type of stuff where I'm sitting here going you don't have to make it that hard, right? But this goes back to the point about the fundamental things with him not there yet. Because if the dribble was tighter, to your point, Coach, that's a pull up from the elbow.
Well, it could be, but also if you dribble at Bam is going to then, I have to guard you now because
you're putting Bam in a position to make a decision.
Exactly.
And then Pirtle has that whole middle of the lane open, drop off pass to Pirtle. Yeah.
But all because in this case, to the Kenyon's point, I don't think he's comfortable with the handle, especially with his left hand. Therefore, we have this crazy shot making that has to happen.
Again, that's a tough shot. He makes it. You're rolling, you take it, but it's a tough because that's like a pull, turnaround, fade away from the foul line.
Mm-hmm. Flat-footed.
Even for someone like KD, that's a bit difficult.
With a hand right in his grill too.
With a 2 foot, it's
right.
This is why I'm not saying that you can't have this shot in your bag, but this can't be the go-to shot.
Well, what's the thing I always say in this case here? What can be replicable? That's what I'm looking at, right? What can be sustainable? And these are not.
That's not a bad shot. But
exactly. Even the miss, I actually like that best of all three shots.
I do too.
Yeah, because he's a little open there. He used the screen right.
Right. Pull up, fine. So be it. Goes in, out, that's fine. But if we look at the last three shots, that is actually, in my mind, to your point, Coach, that might be the best three of the shots, even though it didn't go in.
Yep. No, he created enough space to get the shot open because Kenyon, I should say, Scottie's pull up and release is not exactly the quickest. So he has to make sure he has enough space in order to get it off.
So this move, this proves my point about the left hand, right? He's more confident now going his right hand, which is obvious. Most right-handers would be, but he's willing to go deeper in the paint because he's more confident with the right. Now that's a good, nice little jump hook right there in the middle of the lane. That's what you want. Boom, punish the little man. Boom, too small. That's what I want to see from Scottie. As I said before, if Scottie could actually go and sit there and watch a Alyssa Thomas video for about a couple hours, who literally makes all her bread and butter pretty much from the paint, the elbow, from the free throw extended and down, that's his game at this point. All this experimenting out here, shooting threes and trying to beat guys off the dribble, that's not his game. That's not his game.
No.
And I think to your point, it starts with two things. Number one, the rebounding. Number two, learning where to be on in terms of the paint area, and also knowing where to be in like compared
relative
to
his other players. Yeah,
exactly. Especially if there's another player who might be in the paint.
right. It's like it's like spatial awareness. Like, and I think
Yes, and that's not me trying to say that he has bad court mapping, but it could be a heck of a lot better.
Yeah,
if we're going to be talking about like some serious.
I think IQ suffers from that too.
He is not great.
But there is something to it that when you know your game, how much it makes you more effective, right? People like to kill RJ for this and RJ for that. But one thing I know about RJ, he knows his game. There's no shot I see from RJ where I'm sitting there going, okay, that's some crazy wild shot from RJ. Nope. It's going to be
even in the first 3 games of the preseason.
Yep.
CMB knows his game. I know I wasn't the fan of the pick, but the guy knows his game, and I don't see how he forces it at all. So kudos to him.
Exactly.
Yeah, this was rough. Actually, both Memphis games were rough. Pick whichever one you want.
So I'm just gonna go through them. We're gonna play the things, and anytime you want me to stop, you let me know.
You see, okay, yeah. You see this here? Rewind that back here. Watch when he gets to about the free throw line. Shot's there, right there. The shot was right there. Just
I see what you mean. Where it's like it's because it's
right
with
there.
his left. He's like,
Right. Yeah, that's where the shot should be. But he keeps probing, and now he's caught flat-footed. I think traveled actually because I think he switched pivot feet, but they didn't call him on it. But once again, here
and he dragged it too. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But that's where the footwork. Once again, this is where these are fundamental things he's got to get better at. That's not bad there, but once again,
not bad.
But once again, you're kind of making life harder for yourself, right? Who's he playing? Just over Triple J?
Of course.
Yeah, that's a tough shot, right? Shoot over Triple J in the post.
Yeah, but some of these shots, so the teams are going to live with that. I don't think they want Scottie too much around the rim per se, but they'll let him take those fadeaway jumpers in the middle of the key.
No, what you don't want is Scottie going downhill and Scottie weak side rebound. Those things is what you don't want him to kill you.
Yeah.
You'll live with him pulling up for any jumper, quite honestly. And you'll live with him in this case in the post at the moment because until he actually makes smaller guys pay, you can get away with a switch.
So I will say this. This is the type of thing that I don't like where it's like, I get it. He's trying to get himself going. But at the same time, it's like 20 seconds on the clock. The play hasn't even developed. Right? Like this is – and before, earlier in the season, this used to be like a logo 3.
Well, this is the thing I don't get either, right? And it's like one of these things where it's like Scottie has this quirk about him that he I always say this in this case. When the lights are brightest, Scottie wants to play his best ball, right? And in this case, he's all gung-ho for the Triple J matchup, right? And it's like there's other opportunities on the court for weaker defenders. Yes. I don't know who else is playing for Memphis this night, but I'm pretty sure there's other opportunities than going with one of the guys up for DPOY every year.
Sorry. Zach Edey. I think this is Zach Edey, right? Zach Edey that's a big man.
But Jaren Jackson made a block here, but again,
yes.
I think it's Ochai. Is it? Okay, it's Scottie, yeah.
Well, the other thing too is that he's missing out on Kelly Olynyk right here. Right there. Boom. Right here. You have 1, 2 guys looking at you, 3 guys looking at you, and a 4th guy that's kind of sunk in. But you got to kick out on this behind you.
You got Zach Edey, who's staying with him for the most part, who's 7'4", and then right behind him, here comes Triple J.
Like you still have that pass. This pass still exists.
It's still there.
It's still tough, there. But
it's there. Yeah.
It was. I mean, if he's coach, they're comparing him to Magic Johnson. Okay, so we're going to compare him to Magic Johnson, Jason Kidd, all this kind of stuff. I expect you to make that damn pass.
Don't know if they do that, but
I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying. If you're going to do that comparison, I expect that pass to be made.
The free throw lines where the pass can be made.
Yes.
And he goes
right
too deep
there.
again. Right there. And this is the spatial awareness part we're talking about, right? Where he's got to kind of sense where everyone is on the court.
Yep.
Okay.
I remember
that was a fine look. Yeah.
I remember in Summer League, except that it's with 20 seconds on the clock.
The one you showed before that, though. Or I thought it was. I thought it was a different one.
Because you see with that one there, a savvier offensive player.
Same one. Oh, my bad. Yeah, but
I thought the other ones he was a trailer. This one, I think
Okay, so we'll play this and then we'll go to the next one. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a trailer in this one. So see, it ends up being the same spot. One's a trailer. But I think the trailer one, like, see, this is where you're a savvier offensive player. You do a pump fake and blow by Triple J. He's already committed for the jump shot.
Yes.
Right? Like, you
right.
know, you like,
well,
right there.
Not fully.
Well, he's out there. If you have
he's not Chris Boucher'ing it. Okay, he's not like he's staying down on his stance.
I expect him to stay down, but he's still stretched out a bit where you might be able to get by him a little bit for you to uncork one from there. Once again,
but how would you get by him though?
Me,
I think have the handle.
Yes, you need to have the handle, and that's like I keep coming back to that, man. And people can tell me
the footwork.
The handle will set you free, and until he gets that handle right, we're going to be in the situation. Talk about this in year 6.
The handle and the footwork. I think if he just focuses on the footwork and the screening, that alone will boost him this year.
Well,
right? I think boost him efficiency wise and get him in the right spots.
But also this summer though, I haven't heard too many people talk about this upcoming season for him. I remember in year 3, it was all the talk. It's like Scottie's got to bring it in year 3, and you know, until like the Siakam trade, for the most part, he did. And now this summer, you haven't heard too much about, well, what's the next level now for him? Or is he going to take that next jump? It's almost like some people are starting to settle into maybe what he is now. Well, I'm not saying that is a diss to him. I'm just wondering.
No. But I think going back to Kenyon's point earlier when he gave the Bobby Webster points, I think the organization has settled in. Right? This is where we talk about, even he said no more experimenting. So
I'm glad he said that.
Yeah, so like it's on him if he wants to get more of the rock or get more responsibility. To Kenyon's point, either he's got to pick a poison for this year. Work on the handle, you know, be dribbling with it when you're heading home, wherever the case may be. You used to do in high school, right? Coach, you dribble it, you go head home, dribble it with the left hand on the way back.
Hey, Cannon said 2 chances, 2 opportunities.
Right, because I think the footwork is much more difficult at this point because the season starts to kind of actually implement that. That's an off-season thing in my mind. But the dribble, you can do some stuff during the season here, like you know. Come on now.
Yeah.
That ain't right, man.
Well, it's the handle and the burst too. You can have the handle, but if you don't got the burst, it's. I mean, defenders can easily just kind of do with that. I know he had an ankle injury last year because I was at the Brooklyn game and Scottie had no burst at all. He couldn't. I don't think he could take me off the dribble because he was just coming off the ankle injury.
Right.
And I applaud him for trying to play through that. I get that, but that burst, I really hope that he's going to have to get that. He had some of that in year 3, I remember actually, but hopefully he can get some of that back.
If you have an elusive dribble, coach, you know this, like you can make guys, you can work angles on guys in this case here that you can get them off by half a step with that dribble, even if you're not the most athletic guy in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can do some stuff with your handle to get people with shifting speeds, right? Luka ain't bursting past anybody, but Luka gets past people.
But that's also where, like, I don't think that he'll be able to have the handle. But if he has the footwork and the balance within the footwork, the upper body core strength control, I think that there are ways to still, because you can be crafty with your pattern movement, right? If everything looks like the same thing and people don't know what you're doing, like if a floater looks like a pass, which looks like which looks like a shot, like that is the type of stuff that, okay, now you're starting to, that's where you're starting to build counters.
I agree completely what you're saying. My only thing is based on where they're at right now, I don't think you can implement that as we're on the conveyor.
No.
Right?
No,
right.
No,
That's why I'm saying I'll take the.
You have to like pick one of those things, focus on that for the year, because now, like as I said before, CMB is the most important developmental project on this team. Scottie is no longer the important developmental project, and then Grady, and then Jacoby.
Yeah, to be fair, he shouldn't be either. It's year 5.
No, exactly. You should have done your work in the.
Yeah.
But like as they say, he's a leader on the team. So if you're a leader on the team and the most tenured player, then that's what they expect. So
yeah, and that's the reason why I say pick the dribble at the moment, because you can probably practice that throughout the season just to improve that, and that will at least help you to some extent get your shot off a little easier at best. Because right now the footwork, I totally agree with you. But the balance and footwork, that's some tough stuff to learn on the fly, man. You got gotta go back to basics on that in the summertime there.
It's also about making life easier for him, right?
But yeah,
So yeah,
but
just as a heads up, I do
yeah,
have to get going pretty
yeah.
soon. So final thoughts. I'll start with you, Beyond, and then
Okay.
Coach, just because I
I
just yeah.
Okay, I'll make it quick with this one. I am curious to see where he figures out where he finds his spots on offense to actually look for his shot, because I think he's going to struggle with that at the beginning of the season. And I don't know, and because he'll have the ball less, there's going to be less opportunity. So I think if I'm him, I have to I'm going to have to do a lot more cutting, and it's not something he's naturally been looking to do because he's had the ball in his hands more. But he's going to have to do a lot more cutting to get opportunities, to find offensive opportunities in my mind early in the season.
We saw a moment where he did cut in the Miami game, and there have been moments where he has. It's more of a lot of the things that we're talking about is consistency. Coach, your final thoughts. Sorry that I have to end this.
No, you just took the words out of my mouth. I know he had some games last year where he might have scored 6-8 points one game, 25 the next, 12 the next. I want to see a little bit more consistency from him, not just I'm going to score 6 points in the third quarter and then score like 15 in the fourth. It'd be nice if he can kind of just get his game going a little bit those first few quarters to make it easier for him and the team in the fourth quarter. There were times last year, I remember 2 games. One against Orlando, he's guarding Paulo. Did a really good job. And there was another game against New Orleans. He's guarded Zion when Zion was back. Did a fairly good job on guarding Zion. I'm hoping that he's going to have to probably guard the best player on the other team, some of the big wings or big fours anyway. So I'm really hoping that he's going to take that assignment and just his offensive game might take a step back a bit with Ingram. Focus now on maybe on the defensive end, if you could dedicate more of your energy to that. And then whatever energy that you have in terms of if Ingram is really getting going and scoring points, that opens up for you there. You don't have to try to be the number one option, go back and guard the number one player. But let's just, focus on your defense first, and then we'll see how the offense kind of fits it, like Beyond said.
Totally agree. Well, that is all, folks. It's been fun. It's been good. I think we covered a lot of different things. I think we, did a comprehensive, how can Scottie Barnes improve and be good this year while also taking a step back from a responsibility standpoint. And I think we covered it. So comment, and subscribe, people. Beyond stuff, I put his. Also, he has it on his below thing. So check him out. Coach, I will put your Twitter stuff in the thing as usual after. And people, take care and peace. And that's it.